Hello and welcome to this My Theme Shop video tutorial. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to fully set up the Authority theme by My Theme Shop. Authority is a highly optimized WordPress theme to help your blog build trust and authority in any niche. It's modeled after Matthew Woodward's 6-figure blog, and with his endorsement this is the perfect theme to build your brand. It's loaded with great features and I'm going to be showing you how to set up all of these. It's also laser fast. As you can see here, this is the independent result from Pingdom and it loads in hundreds of milliseconds and has a performance grade of 100. Now before we start, you want to make sure you've got a good knowledge of WordPress to get the most out of this tutorial, and if you want to get up to speed with your WordPress skills, then head over to mythemeshop.com/WordPress-101, and here you'll find a full library of video tutorials showing you all sorts of details about WordPress. If you're already familiar with WordPress, then head over to the bottom of the page and you'll find WordPress 201, which has advanced WordPress tutorials. So that's the Authority theme. We're going to be setting this up from scratch. And the first thing to do is head over to the My Theme Shop member area in order to download the theme. You'll find this at mythemeshop.com/go/member. You want to find the Authority theme, expand that, and under download, press theme files. You want to save that to your computer, just press save. And now we can head over to our WordPress dashboard. First, we want to install the theme, and you can do that by going to Appearance and then clicking on Themes. From there, you want to add new and then upload theme. Now you can choose the zipped file you've just downloaded. Select the file here, press open and then install now. And WordPress will now upload and install the theme for you. Once that's finished installing, then you're going to have the option to activate the theme, and you can just press activate here in order to do that. You'll then be taken to the plugin installer, and here you have two lots of plugins, Essential and Recommended. You'll want to install all of the Essential plugins. We can see I've already got one of these installed, but if I just tick the others here, tick the ones you don't have installed, under bulk actions press install and then apply, and then WordPress will automatically install all of those plugins that you need in order to run the theme. If you return, you can now tick those again and then activate, and that will be all sorted. Under the recommended tab, you'll find some extra plugins that will just enhance your user experience using the theme. And again, you can install any of these just by pressing install plugin. Have a look through these, find which ones you need for your site, and of course, you can just install them with one click. If you've already got thumbnails on your site from using a previous theme, you'll want to use the Regenerate Thumbnails plugin in order to regenerate all of those thumbnails and make sure all of the image sizes are correct. We can now get started with setting up the theme, and to do that we want to head over to Appearance and then click on Theme Options. This brings us to the Theme Options panel, which is the Mission Control Center for setting up and customizing the Authority theme. We'll take you through all of these options one by one through here, but first if we head over to the Import and Export panel, then we can import the pre-built options and layouts and content that are found on the demo of the theme on mythemeshop.com. You'll see we've got 5 layouts pre-built, and if you click onto the demos for any of these, then you'll be able to see those in action on mythemeshop.com. You can choose the demo you want to import and then select either just to import the theme options, import the theme options in widgets, or import the theme options, widgets and content. I'm going to choose this last one here and just press OK, and you can wait for WordPress to import all of those. Once that's all loaded up for you, you can just press OK in order to finish the import process. And we can now head back to the Theme Options panel and get the rest of the theme set up. Now, under the general settings, you'll see you first have some common settings that can be applied to the whole theme. First up, we have our logo and favicon. I'm just going to remove this in order to show you how to add your own logo image to the theme. You want to press Browse, and this will take you to the WordPress media library where you can access all of the images and media that you've already uploaded to your site. And you can also click through to upload files and upload your logo, as I'm going to do now. You want to press Select Files and then choose your logo file, press Open and then Select Image. And that's going to load your logo into the theme. You also have the option to add a custom favicon as well as touch and metro icons for iOS 2 Plus and Android 2.1 Plus and Internet Explorer 10. You can add in your Twitter username in order to make usage of Twitter features. So I'll just add in my theme shop team here. And you can also add your feed burner URL. This will allow you to get custom statistics on your RSS subscribers, and you can set up a free FeedBurner account just by going to feedburner.com. You want to enter your full URL in here, so feeds.feedburner.com/mythemeshop here. Next, you can add in any header code. This will display before the closing head tag. That might be things such as Google Webmaster Tools verification, Bing Webmaster Center, or buy-sell ad script. And below that, you can add in any footer code. And that might be things such as Google Analytics, Clicky, or Stack Counter, and so on. Next up, you have the option to customize the pagination. If I just load up the site at the moment, we'll see we've got the standard dummy content that we just added in, but if we scroll down to the bottom here, then we'll see we've got this 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on numbered pagination. We can customize this by changing it to a next or previous, or use an AX load more or AX infinite scroll. Selecting either of these will allow the user to load additional content without leaving the page. So if I just make that change and then save those changes, and if we refresh our site here, then you'll see we now have load more posts, and if I press this, then this will load extra posts without us having to leave the page. And that's a really nice way of improving your user experience and allowing users to access your site more easily. If you have that set to infinite scroll, then instead of a button, as the user gets to the bottom of the page, the extra content is going to load automatically. I'll just leave that with the load more button. You can also turn on AX Quick Search, and if you have this enabled, then this will make search results appear instantly in the search form. So if we just save those changes, without refreshing the site, you can see as I do a search, we're not getting any results here, and we'd have to press enter in order to get those. If I, however, just refresh my site, then as I start typing here, we're going to see that the results are displayed automatically below the search box. And that just makes it a little bit more easier for users to see the results, and they can of course click through to the full results if they want to do so. You can also turn on or off the responsiveness of the theme. Now, MyThemeShop themes are responsive, which means they automatically adapt in order to serve the best looking website for the device that's looking at them. So on tablet and mobile devices, you'll see different versions of the site to you will on a laptop or a desktop. You'll probably want to have this on, but if you want to turn it off, you can just do so using this checkbox. You also have the option to turn on or off right to left language support if you're using sites using those languages, as well as if you're using the WooCommerce plugin. Select the number of products you want to display on the shop page, and you can just enter a number in here. You want to save those changes once you are finished with those, and we can now have a look at the Performance tab. Now this is where we're going to have access to the performance settings that makes the Authority theme so fast. You'll have a number of options here, including turning on or off prefetching. Now, prefetching works in modern browsers so that if a user is on one page, then additional pages that are loaded are going to load faster. So for example, if a user is on your home page, then single pages will load faster, and vice versa. If a user is on a single page, the home page is going to load faster. You can turn that on just by using these boxes here. You can also turn on lazy loading of images. Lazy loading will delay the loading of images outside of the viewport, so outside of where you can actually see on the screen until the user scrolls through them. So if we turn this on, this will load up additional options where you can choose whether to lazy load featured images and lazy load post content images. Now, lazy loading is a great way of making your site load faster, especially if you're using a lot of images. It'll make the initial loading time faster, but as users use the site, then they're going to have the images load in as they're using it. So you might want to disable lazy loading for featured images, but turn it on for content images, for example, in order to get a nice compromise between speed and user experience on your site. You can add async JavaScript tabs in order to improve the page download speed, as well as remove parameters from CSS and JavaScript file calls, and this may improve speed in some browsers. If you're using the WooCommerce plugin, we'd recommend that you optimize WooCommerce scripts, as that will make your site faster as well. And finally, we'd recommend you're using a caching plugin in order to speed up your page download speed dramatically. We've got links to two we'd recommend here, either W3 Total Cache or WP Super Cache, and you can install either of these for free just by clicking onto these links. You want to save those changes once you are finished, and now we can have a look at the dedicated styling options. Now with these tabs you can control the visual appearance of your theme, including colours, layouts and patterns, and I'm going to show you how to use all of these in order to completely customise the styling of your site. The first thing is the dominant colour scheme. Now you can load this up by clicking on this colour picker here, and you'll see this loads up a colour picker, and you've got default colours along the bottom as well as the full colour spectrum and any tints here, as well as custom HTML hex codes you can add in here. And you can use the colour picker in order to choose a colour for your site which matches your brand. So if I change this to a red colour, for example, if we save those changes and now load up my site again, we'll see that the dominant colour scheme has changed to this red, and this is used throughout the site here. You find it on tags as well as links and buttons and all around the site. You can also change the secondary colour scheme, so we might choose a complementary colour. So perhaps if we just choose a different blue here and perhaps change the tint there, save those changes and then refresh the site, you'll see those change immediately. The secondary colour changes to that stronger blue, and that's used throughout the site as well. So you can see in just a couple of clicks we can change the colour scheme used on the site, and you can just use these in order to make sure that the authority theme matches your brand. You can also change the default sidebar position for your site. This can be changed here as well as on a post by post basis on the post editor. So if we just load up a post here, then we're going to see that we've got the sidebar displaying on the right. If we just save these changes and refresh here, then we'll have those sidebar displaying on the left hand side. So we can see we can change that in just a couple of clicks as well. You can customize the site background. You can set a background color. You'll see you have the color picker again loading up here. You can select a color there as well as choose a background pattern. You can choose any of these just by clicking on these here. You can upload an image. You can just press browse in order to get to the WordPress media library. And you also have options to change the repeat, attachment, position, size, as well to have a parallax effect on. And you also have the option to add in a gradient, and you can just choose two colors here in order to go between, as well as the direction of the gradient. I'm just going to set this to pattern, so if we save those changes and then refresh the site, you'll see the background change to have that nice pattern displaying. And you can just see that displaying, nice subtle background pattern there. You also have the option to add any custom CSS in order to customize your theme. This will override the default CSS used on your site and is great for making little adjustments to your code. If you're making more complex changes, then you'll want to use a child theme, and we'll cover how to set up those later on in the video. You can also choose whether to add a lightbox. A lightbox is a stylized pop-up that allows your visitors to view larger versions of images without leaving the current page. And you can enable or disable this here. If you turn that on, that's a really nice way of improving the user experience for your website visitors. So those are the styling options, and next we can have a look at the header tab. From here you can control elements of the header section, including whether to have on or off the logo, as well as to have a floating navigation menu. So enabling this will turn on the floating navigation menu. So if you'll see at the moment, if I scroll down the page, then the navigation stays static at the top of the site, whereas if we turn it on and save those changes, then we'll see as we scroll down the site, the navigation is going to come with us, and it's a floating navigation menu that we have displaying there. Again, that's a really nice way of improving the user experience. You can select a background color as well as a pattern and image and gradient as we saw with the background. So that's for the header background, which is this section displaying here. You can choose whether to have cart and account links if you're using the WooCommerce plugin, and you can just turn these on or off. You also have the option to control the social icons, which are these things that you'll see across the top of the page here. Now you can control what's displaying by using these options here. You'll see by default we have Facebook, Twitter and Google+, and you can expand any of these as well as add in your links, and you can also move these around in order to customize how they're displaying. You can add extra header icons just by adding in a link. So for example, if you want to add LinkedIn and a URL in here, then you can do so. You can minimize these as well as move them around, and for any you want to delete, you can just press delete in order to do so. If you've got any awards or partners you want to display in the header sponsored logo, as you can see we've got here, and you can display these here. You can turn this on or off, and if this is on, then you can add an image in here. And you'll see if we expand this, we've got the image title as well as an image added in here. I'll just show you if we remove this, we have this standard WordPress media library. If I just upload a file here, we can see I've got the award images in here, and you can just press select images in order to add those in. Press OK once you're done, and those will display on your site once you've saved those changes. You can show or hide the header search form, so you'll find that here, and you can just turn that on or off. You can also disable the whole primary navigation menu if you want to, as well as select the navigation menu's background color. So we'll see currently it's this gray with this gray gradient going on here. But you can change this to a pattern, an image, or a gradient, as well as having the parallax effect as you're used to by now, as you've seen with those other settings. You can save those changes once you are done, and that sets up your header on your site. Next, we can have a look at the footer section, and here you can control the elements displaying in that footer. You can turn on or off footer widgets. So if we have a look at the bottom of the site now, you'll see we haven't got any widget areas here. We can press on in order to turn these on, as well as choose whether to have 3 or 4 widget areas. If we save those changes, then refreshing the site isn't going to add anything to the site here, because we need to add the widgets into the widget areas. And you'll see we've got space to add these in here, but we'll come to adding in widgets later, so we'll see those at the end of the video. Again, you can choose the background color, as well as a pattern, image, or gradient. And you can also choose whether to have the copyright text displaying. You can customize this to whatever you want, but if you are linking back to My Theme Shop, which is always appreciated, then if you head over to the My Theme Shop affiliate program, just by clicking this link, you can earn 70% of the sales that you refer. 70% of the value is well worth having. Make sure you save those changes once you are done. And next up, we can customize the homepage on the site. First, you'll see you have the option to select the categories displaying on the homepage. Currently, this is set to latest posts. So if we just load up our homepage here, then we'll see we've got our latest post displaying here. However, we can customize this in order to customize the categories displaying, as well as add multiple categories just by pressing Add Section. So for example, if I wanted to display perhaps 3 articles, followed by perhaps some business articles, again 3. I could just drag and drop in order to display those up top, and then the latest posts below that. This is really powerful for letting you customize the authority theme in order to display the content you want on your site. I'm just going to remove these for now, but you can customize these as you wish just by pressing Add Section. You've also got the option to customize the homepage meta information. So you'll see at the moment we've got the author name, date, category, and number of comments, but you can disable these as well as drag them around in order to rearrange them. So if we wanted to perhaps get rid of the comment count, we could just drag and drop it to disabled. And in order to customize these and move them around, you can just drag and drop here. So if we just put the date displaying first, you'll see what that looks like and how quickly you can customize the authority theme. You can show or hide the comment count on the homepage, as well as the leave reply link. So you'll just see that below articles it says leave your response. You can choose whether to have a full width featured image or not, as well as whether to display excerpts or full posts on the homepage. Make sure you save those changes once you have set those up. And next off, we can have a look at single posts. From here, you can control the appearance and functionality of your single post page. First up, you can customize the layout. You can choose whether to have the post content, related posts, author box, and tags, as well as in what order. You can just drag and drop these in order to move these around, and for related posts, you can additionally choose whether to have them displaying by categories or tags, as well as the number to display. So if we just perhaps add in tags and then the author box, save those changes, and then click through to a post on our site, we'll see we've got the main post content displaying here. And then below that, we're going to have related posts, tags, and author box. And that's exactly what we selected here. You can also customize the post meta information you want to display, including the author name, date, categories, and comment count. So in order to enable the comment count, for example, we could just drag that in there. And if we refresh, then up the top, we're going to see that is added in here. That's just really easy to customize. You can choose whether to have breadcrumbs on. These are a great way of making your site more user-friendly, and you'll see these are the breadcrumbs here. They just show the parent categories right up to the homepage. You can choose whether to highlight author comments in the comments section, as well as whether to have the date in comments on. So if we scroll down here, we'd see any author comments will be highlighted, and we've got the date on, but we can change that here. Make sure you save the changes once you're finished with them. And next up, we can have a look at the social buttons displaying on our single posts. You can choose whether to have your social sharing buttons floating or just displaying above the content. You'll see at the moment, as we scroll down the page, these social buttons go with the post. They float along. However, you can just select them to display above the content so that they do not float. Just by changing those options, saving them and refreshing. And you'll see now as we scroll down, the social sharing buttons display right at the top of the page. Probably want to have those on floating in order to maximize your social engagement and the virality of your site. You can also choose what social media buttons to display. So we've got Google+, Twitter, Facebook Like, Buffer, Facebook Share and LinkedIn. So you can drag and drop in order to add these in, as well as move any of these around. So perhaps if we want to get rid of Google+, but keep the rest, save those changes, refresh our site, you'll see those social buttons added in there. And we've got the numbers that we selected loading up, as well as the floating buttons back. You can also choose whether to have the bottom social sharing buttons on or off. So we'll see after the content, currently we have the please share buttons with the icons there. This is another great way of maximizing your social sharing, as once users get to the bottom of the page, they're going to be invited to share. Again, you can drag and drop in order to customize these, as well as add in any extras or disable any of these. Finally, you can choose whether to have the social sharing buttons on for pages as well, and not just posts. Save those changes once you are done, and that's going to set up your social sharing buttons on your site. Next up then, we have the ad management. Here you can customize the adverts displaying on your site without the need for separate plugins. You've got 3 advert areas here. You've got the header ad, as well as below post title and below post content. And for all of these, you can just paste in your advert code, whether that's using AdSense, buy-sell ads, or other ad code. If you're using the in-post advert areas, so that's below post title and below post content, then you can choose to disable the ads for a certain number of days after the post is published. So for example, if this is set to 7, then my below post title advert is only going to display 7 days after the post is published. This might be a great way of making sure that your regular users don't see adverts, but those perhaps coming from search engines are going to see adverts on your site. You can disable this if you don't want it on just by entering 0 there, and it's also available for the below post content. Set up your adverts and then save those changes. And next we come to custom sidebars. Now for the sidebar as well as the next sections we're going to look at, we've got full separate video tutorials available on mythemeshop.com. So if you want these in any more detail, or if you get stuck or have any queries about these, then check out the full video tutorials for each of these sections on mythemeshop.com. We are going to cover these in full now though, so stick with us, and next we can have a look at the sidebars. Now with this, you have full control over the sidebars. You can manage sidebars as well as select a different custom sidebar for each section of your site, as well as select a custom sidebar on a per post basis in the post editor. You can add in your custom sidebars here. So perhaps if I want to add a sidebar that only displays on search pages, I can add in a name, so search sidebar here would do nicely, as well as an ID, so sidebar search. Press OK and then save those changes immediately once you're done. Once that refreshes, you're going to see on the left hand side, we've got a list of all of the different types of pages on our site. So we've got the home page, single post, single page, archive, as well as all the different types of archive, search, 404 errors, as well as for the WooCommerce plugin. For each of these, you can choose which sidebar to display. You've got the default, have no sidebar, or any custom sidebars you've added. No sidebar only displays for single posts and single pages, do note that. So if we want to add the search sidebar, which is the custom sidebar we've added, we can go to default and then click on search sidebar. If we save those changes, now when we go to set up our widgets in Appearance and then Widgets, we're going to see we've got a custom sidebar area created, which is Search Sidebar, and there's currently nothing in it, but we can populate that as we want. So if I just drag and drop a tag cloud in order to quickly show you how this works, we'll see that the main sidebar has lost the tag cloud, but if we do a search, hit return there in order to load the full search results up, then we'll see we've got the custom search sidebar displaying there. And you can add as many of these custom sidebars as you want. Just press add sidebar again, or you can get rid of them if you're done creating. And this is a really powerful way of customizing your site and making sure that the content displaying on each page is contextual and will maximize engagement from your visitors. You want to make sure you save those changes once you're done, and we will be coming to look again at widgets later on in the video. Next up then we have navigation, and here you'll find a link to the WordPress menu editor, and if you click through to that you'll be able to set up the navigation used on your site. So if you need to create a new menu, you can just press this button here, or you can edit a menu you've already created, as I'm doing here. On the left hand side you're going to see all of the menu items you can add. That includes pages, and you can just press view all in order to access all of these. You can tick the ones you want and press add to menu. You've also got the same for posts, and again just tick what you want and press add to menu. Custom links, here you can add in any link as well as add in the link text here and just press add to menu when you're done. And finally categories. So if I just wanted to add a politics category for example, I'd select that, press add to menu. We'll find that at the bottom here, and now we can drag and drop in order to display that anywhere we want to on our site. We can have that as a top level menu item, or we can have it as a sub menu or even a sub menu and so on. You can drag and drop in order to do that. I'll just have that as a primary navigation menu item there. If we expand this, we can change the navigation label. So that's the text that displays, as well as the title attribute, any CSS classes you want to add. And optionally, you can add in an icon. And if you just click this, you can access all of these icons available here, as well as search for any of these you want to add as well. You can choose a custom color if you want to, and once you're done setting up all of those, you want to make sure you save those changes. Now you can apply the menu to your site, and you can do that just by heading to Manage Locations. You'll see the Authority theme has 3 menu locations. You've got the primary navigation menu, as well as a footer menu and a specific menu for displaying on mobile devices. You can just apply the menu you've created here. And so to add in the footer, I could create another menu and select that here, and it's the same for mobile. You can also apply the same menu twice, so if I wanted to have the same menu on mobile as on desktop, and I could do so here. Press Save Changes once you are done, and those are going to be added to your site. So if we just head to our homepage here, we'll now see we've got an extra top level menu item added in here, which heads to the category archive for politics. We can now head back to the theme options, and next up we can have a look at the custom typography for the Authority theme. You'll see here you have options for all of the different typographic areas used on your site. So everything from your logo font, tagline font, all the way to the content font and the different headings here. And you can customize the font for each of these using the Google Font Library, which contains over 600 fonts and the 17 standard web-safe font sets. If you're using the Google Fonts Library, then you want to head over to this link here and you can check out the fonts available because there are so many that you'll want to look for those first. I'll just show you how this works, perhaps using the navigation font. Expanding this is going to open up the different fonts available. And first you can choose between the 17 web-safe fonts. And if you scroll past that, you're going to load up the fonts from the Google Font Library. And you can either choose one here just by scrolling through, or you can just start typing in order to access a specific font. So I can add that in there. And once I've selected that, I'm going to get a preview display here. You can customize the color of the preview in order to match your site. So here we can select it to light rather than dark, as we've got a dark font color. If the font you've selected has any font weights available, then you can add these in here. So we could make that heavier, for example, as well as change the font size in pixels. You can choose the color using the color picker. And if you click on more, then you're going to have some additional options, including custom CSS selectors, any additional CSS you want to add, and a fallback font. This will be available to make sure that if the Google Font Library can't load, then you've got a font loaded on someone's computer so that your visitors still have a look that you want. So you might have Helvetica as your fallback font here. If we save those changes and then refresh our homepage, we're going to see that the navigation text has changed to a slightly larger font with a slightly heavier font weight. And it's the same for all of these different items here. You can just go through and set them up how you want them on your site, selecting the font weight, the size and the color and so on, and you can preview any of these. At the bottom of the page you have the option to add any extra character sets. So if you're using a language using non-Latin characters, then you can tick these in order to add them in. Note that it isn't available for all fonts, so you'll want to make sure you're choosing a font with the selected character set if you need those on your site. Make sure you save your changes once you are done, and that sets up your typography on your site. Next up then, we can have a look at the Import and Export tab. Now we saw this earlier for the preset options importing, but if we scroll past that, then we can see we have the option to import and export code. If we click on Show Export Code, you'll see this generates a bunch of code which will allow us to export the theme options used on our site. We can then save those into a backup file, or if we go to import, you can import them into a different site just by pasting them in. This allows you to really easily move between sites, perhaps from a local to a live development site. Additionally, you can enter your own child theme, and you can create a child theme just by typing in a name here. So authority child, for example, pressing create child theme. That will automatically create all the files you need, and then you can just go to appearance and click on themes and activate the new child theme and make any customizations there. That will make sure that once you're updating your theme, you're not going to lose any of the code changes that you've made in your child theme. Child themes are really useful for future-proofing any complex code changes you're making to your site, as they'll make sure that the code changes you're making aren't overwritten every time you update the theme. So if you're making complex changes, then you'll want to have a child theme. Save those changes once you are done, and that concludes our look around the theme options. Next then, we can have a look at widgets and set up these on our site. And you can do that just by heading to Appearance and then clicking on Widgets. Now, widgets are a really powerful way of customizing your site, and you'll want to spend a bit of time making sure you've got these set up in a way that works for you and your audience. On the left-hand side, you're going to find the available widgets. These are the additional add-ons you can add to each section of your site. You'll find the My Theme Shop specific widgets built specifically for this theme with the MTS prefix here. On the right-hand side, you're going to have the widget areas, and you can expand each of these in order to access them. You'll find the default sidebar as well as any additional widgets that you've added in the theme options. So here we added 3 footer widgets and a custom search sidebar as well. So you can add widgets just by scrolling down and selecting the one that you want. For example, we might add some popular posts, and then you can just drag and drop to the widget area that you want to add to. So for example, if I wanted to add popular posts below the social profile icons and the author intro, then we can do so here. Each widget will have additional options that will load, and you can just click on this drop down here in order to access these. When you drop in a widget, those are going to load automatically. So we can change the title as well as choose over what time period to select our popular posts. So I might just set this to perhaps 200 days. You can choose the number of posts to show as well as the title length, thumbnails, the post layout. You can choose between horizontal and vertical, as well as whether to show the post date, number of comments and expert. I'll just turn that off and leave the rest of those off. And now if we save those changes and refresh our site, we'll see that those are added in right away, and it shows you how easy widgets are to use. So see, we've added in 5 popular posts here. You can drag and drop widgets once they're on your site. So to rearrange these again, I can just drag and drop. So if I refresh my site now, we'll see those popular posts have moved below the sponsor area. And you can also move between widget areas just by dragging and dropping. So if I wanted to add content to our footer widgets, for example, then I can just drag and drop these in order to add those in here. So we might have these 3 in each of those footer widgets. If we just refresh the page, you'll see they've gone from the sidebar and they're now displaying in the footer. And you can add multiple types of each widget. So if we wanted to have category posts in the footer as well as the sidebar, it's just a case of dragging and dropping into the specific widget area you want to add those in. And so as I mentioned, widgets are a really powerful way of customizing your site. You can spend a bit of time making sure you've got the widgets that work for you and your site and getting them set up nicely and displaying how you want them. If you do want any additional widget areas for specific areas of your site, you can go back to the theme options and add in your custom sidebars. So that's the final thing to look at and concludes our look around the Authority theme, helping you set it up fully on your website. Authority is a fantastic theme with great potential, and it's going to allow you to level up your site and kick on to the next level of growth and monetization. If you do have any queries, then head over to community.mythemeshop.com and someone will be more than happy to help you out. Thank you very much for watching.